Anime games haven't exactly been the best over the decade, but despite that, there have been a few shining samples like Dragon Ball FireZ and no, frick you! But there is a strange balance between these two extremes. Allow me to introduce Black Clover, Quartet Knights on the PS4 and PC, which only half makes me want to. Hi, I'm Eric and I do everything, and this is a Black Clover. Can you believe they made a series out of this? Black Clover. This is a Japanese manga and anime series that was written by Yukai Tabata that centers around a kiddo named Asta, the only guy in the world filled with magic that somehow can't use magic. What a loser. Then again, I can't complain. The manga alone sold 50 million copies. That's 50 more million people than the amount people would like Asta's voice. Of course, with the success of this manga, they made merchandise, gambling games, and yes, a video game for the PS4 simply titled Black Clover Quartet Knights, which surprisingly has decent reviews. Heck, they even made a spin-off manga based off this game, as this game has an original story separate from the manga. Timmy, what the heck are you doing? Okay then, anyway, let's take a look at this game, shall we? The opening starts with a burning house that belongs to Bishōjo, a nobleman. This guy gets attacked by some random bandits who started a fire, which causes him to send his daughter far away to avoid any danger, which wasn't exactly the best idea. As it emits this giant white light that causes the bandits to find him. Seriously, what was he thinking? They were about to give up looking for you. Oh, whatever. Anyway, these bandits find him and kill him, but not before Bishōjo finds out that these bandits were actually noblemen that were supposedly sent by the king to kill this guy for, I don't know, they never explain it. I'm guessing he stole the king's Oreos though. Gosh freaking darn it! After some confusing talk about power, devotion, and stabbing, Bishōjo gets stabbed. But right before he dies, he emits all of this evil red energy into cursing the king and putting this hatred into this time stone necklace thingy, which is going to be important later on. After the king dies, we cut straight away into Bishōjo's daughter, Karna, a sweet young girl who collapsed on the middle of the mountains where she was sent to. But before she faints, she sees some mysterious figure standing right next to her, and which after years of research, I can conclude that this person is, yep, you guessed it, Taylor Swift. Besides her, I have no idea who else it could be. My mind's a blank state. After the opening, we basically get introduced to the main characters of the story. This is the world filled to the brim with magic. Asta somehow got born without magic. He joins the Order of Magic Knights in the Clover Kingdom. Asta can fight with the power of friendship, blah blah blah, you get it. This then cuts straight away right into a battle with no contest whatsoever. In which we have to battle, no, we have to battle Mars? Wait, Mars? I can barely handle fighting Nerd. Who do you think is responsible for all the Beastine? Anyway, let's talk about the battle. Honestly, the battling in this game is quite mindless and filled with random button mashing. And it doesn't help that this game plays pretty much like how every anime game plays nowadays. It's your typical hack and slash battle like game similar to Dynasty Warriors and Zelda Hyrule Warriors. That being said though, while the gameplay is a bit mindless and quite honestly a total Snoozefest at times, man is it fun to run around and beat the frick out baddies in this game. I mean, look at how chaotic and crazy this game gets. We got helper splashy moves at the enemies, landscapes that are honestly a treat to look at, and a variety of special moves that don't slow down the fast-paced battling action at all. This game gets more action than the amount of action I get with girls. That being said though, there are a couple of things that do bother me in regards to the battle. Firstly, why the frick does Asta have a frickin' meter bar that depletes? Out of the 3 minutes of storytelling you gave me at the beginning of this game, half of it was saying that Asta doesn't have magic and you pulled this crap? That's like if Adam Sandler had a frickin' Senshi meter, it wouldn't make sense. Asta beat Mars thanks to the power of friendship. Very cool. Anyway, after defeating him, we witness a cutscene that features Asta and his friends complaining about traveling on the ground for whatever apparent reason, which then leads to this. The most boring visual novel ever. Seriously, the character doesn't even change sprites half the time when moving. Can you imagine a video that's just a series of images that's only moving every couple of seconds? That makes no sense. Wait, what's happening? Timmy, I don't like this. Please help me. Oh, okay, now we are in a dungeon now? Okay, cool. Apparently this game centers around exploring dungeons now. This game went from Jump Force to The Legend of Zelda in a snap. Well, quite honestly, comparing this to The Legend of Zelda is pretty much the same. Because this dungeon is pretty much a square-shaped battlefield filled to the brim with copy-paste generic rock enemies. Yay! The only thing you could do in this dungeon was fight enemies. I'm not over-exaggerating. The only task you had in the entirety of this dungeon was to defeat these stone golems. Look, if you're gonna waste 10 minutes of my life explaining the horrors and traps the dungeon contains, at least put some freaking horrors and traps in it. My gosh! I swear the closest they get into a trap in this game is Asta, and that's because because it screams like a teenage girl. Anyway, while traversing through the dungeons, defeating the enemies after getting separated from Captain Yami, we find out that, oh no, Captain Yami is dead! Oh, never mind. But he did turn younger and lost his memories for some apparent reason, so now we get to beat him up. Anyway, after defeating him, tying him up, and bringing him back to the Black Bow headquarters, we allow our captain to get publicly humiliated in front of everyone, and which somehow results in doing yet another mock battle, in which we finally get some unique gameplay. It's no more fighting, but with Capture the Flag, because nothing screams Black Clover like Capture the Flag. Yeah! All joking aside though, this strangely enough was my favorite part of the game, as while they didn't really change anything battle-wise, actually having to go besides beating the heck out of someone was actually a nice change of pace. Especially since the chaotic combat made it quite challenging and fun. Other than that though, it's Capture the Flag. What else is there to say? After the mock battle, some of the people from the Golden Dong came to ask us to conquer some sort of lava dungeon. Ooh, a lava dungeon. Hopefully this one is at least a little bit more exciting than the last one. Alright, let's do this. Gosh freaking darn it! Not only was there literally no enemies or traps at all, but the only fighting there was in this dungeon was facing against our own teammates, which leads us to find a treasure after the fight. Seriously, what was the point of bringing people you hate to get treasure if there's nothing in your way to get the treasure in the first place? Seriously, even Noel is questioning this game's existence. You think I asked to have a hair banana made protagonist? Speaking of protagonist, remember the opening cutscene? Well, now Karna is back for revenge, and for some reason she's blonde and possessed by some evil thing now. Cool. Anyway, after defeating her, we find out that Yami knows Karna, and they met each other somewhere in the past, and Karna was supposed to be deceased for some reason, and honestly whatever time travel random stuff the story throws at for some apparent reason. Seriously, this time traveling stuff was more confusing than why girls won't frickin' date me. From what I can understand though, the opening cutscene took place 30 years ago when Karna was 18, and which she was proclaimed dead. But somehow she met up with Yami 14 years before the present time, and which her death was reported the same year as well, meaning there's 16 years of information missing regarding around Karna's past. Are you confused yet? Don't worry, Asta and friends are as well, which results them in traveling to her grave, in which Yami got possessed by her father through the necklace in order to get revenge and take over the world. Wahahaha. Before finishing the story though, we are suddenly interrupted and summoned to fight somewhere else. Ooh, what is it gonna be? Are we gonna fight dragons and evil force about to take over the world? What possibly could it be? Come on, another dungeon? Gosh darn it! This is a quicksand dungeon, in which is exactly the same as the first dungeon. But instead of fighting walking rock-hard robo-creeps, we are instead fighting the same mages we fought against in the first Karna battle. Oh, how fun! During the battle, a total creep named Beto comes along and, hold on a second, damn this dude has more muscles than the mad ghost that rejected me. What idiot wrote that part of the script? Anyway, I love this guy. There's finally a cool boss battle in this game, Bishōjo the Destroyer. Dang, even the name is cool. And that's not the only cool thing about him, but battling him was cool as well. I mean, look at this attack. Bam, bam, yeah. Heck, we don't even defeat this guy as he takes part of this purple thing and runs away. What a freaking legend. Anyway, after the encounter, we are summoned yet again to save the members of the Golden Dawn, in which we find out they are Gaps, possessed yet again by Karna, which results in another battle with her escaping, in which after chasing her, we finally get to the final boss battle of the games, in which the moon turns red, a solar eclipse is happening, and Karna is turning into a furry? Okay, that's actually pretty cool. Note to self, add more furries into anime. Okay, I know this game has been quite a bit negative and confusing, but I gotta say, this final boss was freaking amazing. It surprisingly ties the story down together perfectly, as the anime cutscenes don't overstay their welcome, and come on, you're beating up a furry at the final boss. What's not to love about that? Seriously, this final boss battle was personally one of my favorites in not only the anime games I covered, but in games I played in general. And it's honestly such a shame that you have to go through a total Snoozefest of boring, drawn-out cutscenes and battles that just don't make sense in order to get there. What I'm basically trying to say is that I went from this to this. After defeating the final boss, figuring out that Yami didn't turn young, but rather time traveled into the future, causing this awkward scene, and boom, credit, we completed the game. Thank goodness, that was a painful yet somehow fun experience. Wait, what? I'm not done? No! Yeah, there's another part of the story mode, and which is pretty much the same as the last story, but you do get some key details that were missing from the first story, like where the frick did Yami go that caused everyone to think that he was a small little bean. Honestly though, I spoiled enough of the story to see the need to talk about it in detail, but just know if you were a bit confused on the story, this part of the story honestly covers it up, and actually results in your typical Black Clover plot twist. So if you're curious about the full context of the story, check it out. Thankfully, this game not only offers the story mode, but also other modes that are honestly pretty amazing. Though it's just a shame you'll be facing against boss the majority of the game, even online, because as, yep, you guessed it, the online mode of the game is pretty dead. That being said though, there's quite a diversity within the modes you can play, like Zone Control, in which teams of 4 players race to hold control of the target area. You can field gauge by standing within the ring. Having more team members within the ring will increase the gauge field rate, but could risk a full barrage from the opposing team. Another mode is Treasure Hunt, in which teams of 4 players race to pick up a key and carry it to the treasure chest. Taking the key gets 1 point, killing the key holder or successfully defending the treasure chest also gets 1 point, successfully opening the treasure chest gets 2 points. The first team to reach 5 points wins. In Crystal Carry, teams of 4 players race to hold control of the target area and field gauge. Filling the gauge spawns a crystal, and players escort the crystal along with a path before the timer runs out. If they reach the final location, they win, but if the time runs out, the crystal resets and the other team can try to push the crystal further to win. Besides these modes, there are also modes you pretty much can expect from any game, like training mode, 3x3 battle mode, gallery mode, and options, in which you have the choice to shut Asta's voice. Other than that though, I pretty much covered the entirety of the game. Hey Timmy, how's that fire magic working for you? Ooh, test it out on me. My friend says I need to be more hot in order to have a chance of woman. Just do it.
Huh? What happened to my voice? Oh, frick.